it started. So, hi everyone again. It's great to see all of you here today. My name is Maria and I work at the Talent and Career Office at the University of Porto and part of the UP Doctoral Careers team. Over the past 2 years or so, we've been working on initiatives like this one, this webinar, that aims at supporting our PhD candidates in navigating their careers and exploring opportunities, career opportunities. This webinar is all about exploring how a PhD can go beyond traditional paths and lead to impact. And specifically, we'll be talking about what an entrepreneurial mindset means in the PhD context, how to translate research into real-world impact, and hearing first-hand experiences, challenges, and tips from our speakers. This is part of our webinar series, and you can find recordings of previous sessions that we have been doing on our website. I will be posting here later on the link for you to explore after this session. And just a quick note, we will be recording this session to post later on our website. And we'll exclude the final questions and answers to ensure your privacy, okay? I will keep an eye on the chat if you have questions, thoughts, or maybe you can ask them later. We'll have time for that, okay? Now I will pass the word to our moderator, Angela. Angela, in English, Angela in Portuguese, who will guide us through today's session. Angela holds a PhD in pharmaceutical sciences from the Faculty of Pharmacy from our university. She has a professional background in clinical diagnostics, that's how you say it, and analytical chemistry. She is a dedicated science communicator, having won the international EUGLO 3-minute PhD pitch and the U.Porto 3-minute thesis competition. I'm sure some of you have heard of these competitions. She's now working as a medical information specialist at IQVIA, where she applies her scientific expertise to medical communication and pharmaceutical support. So please, Angela, thank you so much for accepting this challenge and have fun. Enjoy our session.
Well, thank you, Maria, for the introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. It is a true pleasure to be moderating this session today. As we have just heard, our team is thinking outside the box with a PhD from research to impact. And we are here to explore how the rigorous training of a PhD can be translated into tangible value for society and professional world. To help us explore this, we have an exceptional group of guests today who have successfully made that leap from research to impact. And I will briefly introduce them. Please feel free after to develop your path, as this is really, really small. Okay, Danial is a research technician specializing in skill frameworks and digital competences. He applies advanced NLP and text mining to analyze job market trends and labor market demands. His work focuses on bridging the gap between education and employment, and he has been actively involved in major European projects like Digital First Sustainability and SmartCo. Rita, I will skip. I don't know if she's here already, but maybe if she's arrived, I will present her. Rafaela is an entrepreneurship manager at the University of Porto, overseeing a portfolio of over 100 university spin-offs. She is a PhD researcher in innovation and creativity, focusing her work on empowering women and analyzing the social implications of generative AI and digital power structures. Thank you, Rafaela. Tiago Lobo dos Santos is a criminologist and a PhD candidate in family sciences at the University of Kentucky as a Fulbright and La Caixa scholar. He describes himself as a pracademic working at the intersection of science and practice. He co-founded the Alcalá Institute to put high-quality scientific research directly at the service of marginalized children and youth. To all of you, thank you very much for your time and for collaborating with the University of Porto today. It is an honor to have your expertise gathered here. Okay, to get our conversation started, I would like to address a concept that is often misunderstood. When we mention entrepreneurship in a PhD context, many people immediately think of starting a company. But I am curious about your take. What does it actually mean to have an entrepreneurial mindset during a PhD? I would like to leave the floor open to the first person who would like to share their perspectives. I don't know who wants to start first.
That's fine. If you let me, I can start.
Sure.
Okay, great. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Maria. First, let me thank you for coordinating this meeting. It's a great honor for me to be here. Coming back to your question, as you said, an entrepreneurial mindset specifically in a PhD doesn't mean creating a new company or a new startup. In my point of view, it means approaching research and your career like an innovator, not just a student. In my point of view, it's all about three keywords: creativity, initiative, and problem solving. When I'm saying creativity, it means thinking of new ideas and approaches to improve research. For example, trying to use alternative ways during your PhD, during your research, thinking outside the box. Let me tell you something. For example, suppose you are in a room. I tell you that there is nothing in the room. The door is locked. So how can you get out of the room? How can you, escape from the room? What solutions come to your mind? Probably the first solution is to try whether really the door is locked or not. Maybe I said something, for myself. So not always look for complicated solutions or let me say strange things. So the second one is initiative. Initiative means taking actions without waiting for someone to tell you what to do or what not to do. I have seen so many students and so many even employees always wait for their boss, their manager, or I don't know, their supervisors for permissions. They want to try new methods, new things, I don't know, whatever. They're always waiting for permission, whether they're allowed to do it or not. The fact is that supervisors, managers are always afraid of, I'm sorry that I'm honest, they're always afraid of, being distracted by trying new methods and other, let's say, strategies. In my point of view, PhD students might try them and just show them the results. And the other one is problem solving, which means finding practical solutions to challenges in your research. As an example, utilizing alternative ways for let's say when you are getting some kind of result, try to use different ways, try to use different types of results. So to make it concise, three important points: think differently, act independently, and the third one, overcome challenges effectively. That's it from my side.
Thank you, Daniel. I don't know if Rafael, Tiago wants to add something to this.
Yes, I agree with Daniel. Thanks so much for your tips or advice. I believe for me, sorry. Hello, everyone. For me, having entrepreneurial mindset during it PhD is not only about create a startup, because there are many different ways to be an entrepreneur. For example, you can also create an innovative solution and protect them, bringing them to the market through a license, for example. So, in my opinion, the key is to identify a gap and transform your research into something that creates value for society instead of living in a drawer or a paper or a lab. And of course, you need passion, determination, and I think you need the ability to hear no without giving up, because it's hard. It's hard to be an entrepreneur, because you will listening a lot to know, but you need keeping on. So I believe in that.
Thank you so much, Rafaela. Tiago, I don't know if you want to continue.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me and for having me. And thank you so much to Zare and to Rafaela for their contributions. Based on their summary, it's hard to give like any additional input on what they just said, because I think they summarize in a great way what does entrepreneurship look like in the context of doing your PhD and your doctoral studies. But I think I will piggyback on what both of them were saying to add something based on my own experience, and to continue this idea that you don't need to start a startup to be an entrepreneur while doing your PhD. I must say that I think being an entrepreneur while doing your PhD is about exchange, the certainty of a PhD path leading to publications or to conclusion of the thesis, by the uncertainty of creating some real value to the world in some ways. It can be to students that you are teaching, it can be to society itself. And in many ways, like Daniel was saying, this can bring, it's disruptive, so it can bring reactions that do not favor the outcomes of what we are trying to do. But to give a few examples, so on my PhD and on my lab, usually students go to work with my advisor, and my advisor gives them the ideas. And the publication will be almost certain, right? Because it's work underway, it has a rationale, you just jump in on what the things that are already in motion and that have their own rationale. But I try to always bring my own ideas, because I work more in the applied world, probably more program interventions in the area of education, preventive work related to children and youth, and try to bring this work to the table and bring my advisor with me, as opposed to the opposite. Of course, I change the certainty of publications, and you can see probably on my Vita that probably I do not have as many publications by now as most of the PhD students that are with my advisor. But the payoff of this is that I'm much more, I believe, prepared to the real world. And in the real world of applied intervention, if you want to be an entrepreneur and if you have these skills, probably no one will lead you into the path that you want to walk by to give an expression. So this would be an example, bringing your own topics of research and arranging your own data, collecting your own data. The other one, for instance, is in teaching. You can, of course, teach the way, so a course is given to you, you are a teaching assistant, and the course is already designed. What I try to do is, because I saw that the undergrads, the students, bachelor level students, were not taking the most experience and learning the way the course was designed. I tried to bring my own innovations into teaching and design the course myself at a given point in the semester. Of course, my advisor was trying to save me of this work and use the model that he uses, but I couldn't do it. And the reason why I couldn't do it is because I'm an entrepreneur. I just designed the course myself and changed it to become more impactful to the students that were learning adolescent development in the case. So these are two, I think, very concrete examples, bringing your own ideas to the table to research based on the idea that these ideas have real value, and if testable, they can be used in the real world, applied world. And the second one, for instance, in teaching, because teaching, at least in the US, and I think in Europe, it's becoming more as well, you have a component of teaching or of training others, and train others and teach in an innovative way. Do not stick with the old models, because we are preparing future professionals that can also be entrepreneurs themselves. And that's what I was trying to do by my way of teaching, to instill in them the critical thinking and the entrepreneurial skills. And this is not creating a startup.
Thank you so much, Thiago. I think it is very interesting to hear how you all see the PhD as a foundation to proactivity. I would now like to build on these ideas and dive a bit deeper in your individual journeys, even if you have already shared a little bit of it, and your specific career paths. Okay, so I will make some individual questions, but feel free to comment. Okay, on every single questions. Maybe I will start with you, Rafaela, now. You are the entrepreneurship and innovation manager at U.Porto Inovação, a service particularly dedicated to entrepreneurship issues at the university. In your perspective, how can HEs be active agents in developing the entrepreneurial spirit of students, and how can students take advantage of the PhD to develop those entrepreneurial skills?
Well, okay, it's a big question.
It's a big question. If you want to
Yeah.
start from the first one and the other one.
Yes, but good question. Thank you. Well, I really believe higher education institutions can play a stronger role here, because they are a safe place where the students or research can create, can learn, fail, and try again and again and again if necessary. But universities need to invest more in entrepreneurship programs, and also, in my opinion, also include entrepreneurship or business management in the curriculum of each faculty, because any field can become a startup or a new solution. So I think this place is a safe place to do not everything, but you can you can create. So here in University of U.Porto, we run 3 entrepreneurship programs. First is a Ignition, which support early stage ideas from students, research, staff, professor, and the call for applications open soon, April 6th. I can share in the chat more information. Another is BIP acceleration, which focuses on research and helps then explore the commercial potential of their research. And this call for application will probably open in June. Yes, in June. And our newest program is She Leads Ventures, dedicated to women's leadership and entrepreneurship. And this call for application probably open in October. So PhD students can use these programs to develop their entrepreneurial skills. I think I answered your question. I think.
Thank you, Rafaela. Yes, if you could also, yes, share information on the chat, it would
Yes.
be great to help.
Yes, I will
everybody
put
that is
the
watching it.
links of these programs in the chat.
Thank you very much. Well, maybe Daniel, in your work, you have explored experiences of creating entrepreneurial projects and also reflected on frameworks such as the Intercom framework, if I'm not mistaken. Based on your research and experience, in what way does the doctoral journey contribute to the development of those skills and to creative approaches, even when the students do not aim to, once again, create a company?
Yes, thank you. It's an interesting question. Well, in my point of view, doctorate studies help you develop your entrepreneurial skills in different ways. I'll call it 7 steps to develop entrepreneurial skills. The first one is, as I said before, independent thinking. You know, PhD students must define research questions. They must design experiments on their own. So this makes you think and think and think on different problems, ideas, etc. The second one is problem solving under uncertainty. You know, research often involves experiments that may fail, or you may get unexpected results. So you're not sure about the results that you're going to get. So this way, you're going to strengthen your problem-solving skills. The third one is opportunity recognition. What does it mean? I mean, when you're identifying gaps, when you're identifying the limitations, it makes you, think of these limitations. What are the solutions for these limitations? Yeah. The other one is a resourcefulness, or let me say tact. It's interesting, you know, limited funding, time, or equipment requires creative solutions. There is an interesting expression which I always remind myself, and that is limitations bring creativity. So you shouldn't expect to have everything in order to start, or in order to, get the result or whatever. So when there are limitations, it makes you to look for alternative ways, creative ways, or etc. The other one is project and time management. Probably in a PhD program, you're going to be involved in projects. You're going to present your work in conferences, or I don't know, wherever. So sometimes you need to manage the time. You have to you have to pay attention to the deadline, or I don't know, when you're presenting your presentation, when you're presenting your defense. I don't know, you have to take a look at the time, you have to manage it. Sometimes you have to manage your projects, how to structure your article, I don't know, whatever. So you're strengthening your management skills. The other one is networking and collaboration, which is very important. As a PhD student, you are probably going to have a professional profile, especially in LinkedIn. You're going to share your ideas, you're going to share your publications, I don't know, you're going to collaborate with internal experts or external experts, experts from industrial sections, etc. So these, let's say, new doors will be opened to you in the future. And the last one is communication and persuasion. Of course, you're going to practice on your communication skills, you're going to speak in public, I don't know, you're going to learn how to persuade others that your results, that your research, I don't know, whatever, are valid. So it's very important. These are the 7 steps.
Daniel, thank you so much. I don't know if you can share also a little bit of a project that you developed, that you're working on, something more practical that you can share for other people to understand a little bit on what you are focused, very briefly.
Yeah, of course. Well, I was involved in one project which was directly related to my field of study. My supervisor asked me to join this project. Uh, I learned a lot in this project. I mean, I learned how to utilize whatever I have learned in the academic area, in the academic, into real life. You know, let me say, I've learned how to use, I mean, computer programming in order to solve a real problem. As an example, in one project, we were supposed to build 2 new occupational profile. When I'm saying occupational profile, as an example, you know, data scientist is an occupational profile. But in that project, we were supposed to build 2 occupational profiles for our future, right? For smart cities, for smart communities. So I utilized whatever I learned in the academia in the real project, and that was very, very interesting. I will share it in the chat if you're interested.
Yes, that was I was asking you if you can share or something interesting that it's more related to what you do for, because sometimes I think people don't really see and understand what we do in practice. So that would be Daniel.
Exactly. At the moment, you know, what I learned at the university made me think about a real problem in our lives. I mean, I'm seeing that so many students are worried about their future, especially when they are graduated, they're not able to find an appropriate job, or I don't know, they do not know what types of job roles they can look for. That made me think that, okay, it would be interesting to have a platform which students can upload their CVs, and based on their CVs, so many job roles, standard job roles could be proposed based on their CV. For example, you are a good fit for this role, you are a good fit for that role. So this way, when you're in, for example, LinkedIn or Indeed.com, when you're looking for a job, so you can, you know that what types of jobs you should look for. This is exactly related to my field of study. I mean, what I learned in my PhD program.
Thank you, Daniel. And I think that would be great to help students when it's set, of course. Tiago, last but not least, okay. During your PhD, you started creating the Alcalá Institute. I don't know if I say it well, an organization focused on research of ethnic minority children and youth issues. What is the relationship between applying and enrolling in doctoral program and this specific entrepreneurial action?
Thank you. In English, it might sound different, so that's okay. So just to provide a brief introduction about the Institute, we do research on ethnic minority children and youth in context, and we seek to use the findings that we get directly from that context to improve educational and other types of social practices with these youth. So instead of the traditional publication process in which you extract data from a given community and you send the findings to the scientific community, general speaking, and then you wait for a meta-analysis to probably bring those findings back into the community that you study to do some kind of improvement on their lives. We just analyze data from a given context, and we provide the stakeholders with the findings just after we finish the analysis. So that's what we do. And we are currently focusing on Romani children and youth. And I will leave the link here so that people can see a little bit more about the Institute. So
Perfect.
the reason why I was interested in talking about this is because I had, like, before applying to the PhD already, I applied to the PhD because of the idea I had. So the PhD was not an end on itself for me. It was more like a mean. Before, I always wanted to, like, proceed, like, probably into the research world and academics and all of that. But specifically applying to the PhD, it was with this idea of conducting research to benefit a specific community and to use the findings to inform practitioner work, specifically teachers and community workers working with these children in disadvantaged and underserved situations. So I need to say that maybe that can inspire other people. So if you have an idea before even applying to the PhD, that might clarify what you will actually do during the PhD. And then during my PhD, when I enrolled, so when applying for the PhD, I already I wrote this down in my applications that I had this idea on the mindset. So that helped me to secure funding and all of that. During the PhD, because of this idea that I had before, I searched for opportunities beyond the traditional curriculum that could help me in setting this path of going beyond the traditional, which is doing research to publish on scientific outlets and to use research to be at the service of real world practitioners. So I took a course, I took some extra courses. So I searched for information at the university level, and I took some extra courses that gave me experiences to inform the way I would co-found the institute and the activities we foresee. One of those courses was called Preparing Future Faculty, and that provided me with an overview of the realm of different types of academic institutions in the US, and that really inspired me to bring some of these different aspects of different types of academic institutions to create a research institute that, not being an university, has many similarities with some kinds of universities at the structural level. One example that I should highlight is that some types of universities in the US have what is called extension, and these extension are the departments that are responsible for using the knowledge that the university creates and really outreach and reach out with this knowledge to educate communities based on it. And also other types of institutions that I was able to get to know through other opportunities that I saw during the PhD. So taking extra courses and extracurricular activities in the PhD that were happening at the university level, always using all of these resources might be useful to enlighten the path of a PhD student. And then, for instance, when enrolling and more recently, in the choice of my qualifying examination project, because of this intention of working in the real world with applied research settings, I collaborated with the state of Kentucky Department of Public Health to design my own research and set the research questions of what would be my qualifying examination research project. So my research was based on a real world question that arose from people at the state level. And that's something I kind of stepped in. I had this idea of working with people that are concerned with real world problems, but that really was a little bit unexpected even to me, that the research question came from them more than from me. And I just had to follow the essence of the research question and convert it into scientific terminology. And now I had to develop a policy brief to report back to the state with the findings. In the case, this was a early home visiting childhood and infancy project that aims to promote positive infant development among families that have psychosocial risks like drug consumption and domestic violence and other kinds of psychosocial risks. And yeah, I think that would be those 3 points. The PhD as an end more than as a mean, looking for opportunities beyond academics and beyond the traditional curriculum within university, because there are many services that universities now provide, I'm sure. And then try to choose topics that are aligned with your entrepreneurial action.
Thank you so much, Tiago. That's true. I think that it's good for us to be here and share a little bit of other perspectives, because we don't all start PhD for the same reasons, with the same goals. And sometimes we don't know about every possibilities that we have. So thank you so much for sharing. We have Rita with us. Thank you so much, Rita. I will do your presentation now, and maybe I can
Thank you. And I'm
make
sorry
you-
once again.
It's okay. Thank you so much. Well, Rita is an analyst at Faber, a venture capital firm where she focuses on deep startups in biotech and health tech, with a PhD in molecular and cellular biotechnology from U.Porto. She has conducted research at international institutions like Boston University. She is also a committee member of the European Society of Human Genetics. Rita, maybe I will do an individual question to you. During your PhD, we should think about the impact of our research from early on, as well as view this phase as a space for experimentation and innovation, and that is what you did. During your PhD, Rita participated in the Faber Entrepreneurship Program. Rita, would you like to share what motivated you to participate in this program and what its the impact was in your career?
Yes, so thank you for having me. I believe that I wanted to explore career paths beyond academic research. So most of all, I think that I was open to new challenges, and I wanted to explore other directions, or at least to be aware of new options. So for me, it was really important to get exposed. And eventually, I always think that even if you don't know exactly what you want to do, at least you know what you don't want to do. And I could already start deciding based on that. So at the end of the PhD, you are really faced with the decision what is that you want to do next. And I felt that in this program, I could learn, in the Faber Entrepreneurship Program, I could be a little bit exposed to other entrepreneurs' experiences, and I would have the opportunity to imagine myself or picture myself. Could I work in this context? Or I believe that I also had the exercise to look back at my own research and see what other lenses could I apply to the same project or with the same skills that I have developed? What could I do with my PhD? And I believe that this entrepreneurship program allowed me to realize that I had more skills than I anticipated. And I had an entrepreneurial mindset that I was not aware. So the PhD not only gave me a highly scientific background, but during those years, I developed other soft skills. I was managing teams. I became more confident to communicate my work. I was focusing on creating the impact with my research, not only by grants applications or manuscript publications, but I was also involved with the community. So, for example, I helped in the organization of a conference in which we invited the patients of the programs of the diseases that we are studying to be with us and almost like do a co-creation to really understand what were their needs and how could my PhD project help them to solve those needs or to hear them and understand and give them a little bit of hope. So for me, that all was all put into context with the program that I enrolled in.
Thank you, Rita. I don't know if you all want to share, because I think that sometimes we don't speak enough about challenges and barriers that we face, not only on PhD, but especially when we are finishing and we don't really know what to do. I don't know in your specific cases if you want to share some examples of things that happened to you that you faced. This is a question for every single one of you, so I don't know if you want to share.
But I think that if you're thinking about doing a PhD is one thing, during the PhD, other problems arise. But I definitely think that if you are willing to do the PhD, you want to find a PhD project that suits you and not the other way around. I don't know if the other ones agree, but really trying to think if you want to collaborate with others, what type of research project excites you, what are you keen on learning more about and doesn't bother you. And eventually, if that's the case, then the PhD project itself would go on more smoothly with all the constraints that you have with handling teams, dealing with people that are different from yourself, learning how to communicate, manage expectations. I think those are all struggles that eventually during the PhD I had to face. And I think it's relevant for you to be aware that you can have a very solo working PhD or a more community-driven and collaborative PhD, but you definitely have to spend some time thinking about it and not just accept something just because.
Thank you, Rita.
I can add something based on that. Thank you, Rita, so much. If I might, can I?
Sure,
Yes.
please. This is a question
Because
for
that
all
reminds me of something important. I'm thinking about a lot of stuff. So I think I completely agree with what Rita was saying. The thing is, depending on the duration of the PhD, what you think is appropriate at the given stage, and it is appropriate at the given change, then at the given stage, sorry, then during your PhD will change, and that's the problem. So, what if I can be more concrete and more specific? I applied for a given PhD project and PhD program to work within a given context, and that was appropriate during 1 year, but the PhD is longer than that. And I'm saying that because during that first year, I learned so much and I was able to acquire so many things that my level in some respects rose so much and my interests changed a little bit, which made like the context not appropriate no more. And that's so tricky. What you need to do next is probably adapt yourself and see how you can recognize your own changes and adapt yourself and try to adapt the context and search opportunities within your context that still suits and match to your development and your developmental needs. But I think that's the most trickiest part probably of doing your PhD, is that you are an entity that are that is developing throughout the process.
But I also would like to add that it's fine if you change your mind, and it's part of the process as well of the self-development. I think also maybe in academia, frequently changing minds is seen as quitting, but I think that maybe things have to start also gradually changing, because that's part. If you don't feel motivated enough in a job, you change jobs, right? So eventually the commitment with a PhD is a bit different, but I also believe that communication is key, and the relationship with your supervisor has to be very transparent on that sense, and it helps if you're transparent and clear about your expectations, your motivations, and despite your interests change, I would say, if there's an open channel of communication with your research team, eventually you can still find place for you to grow and be keen on the things that you want to learn. But communication is really key and crucial.
Thank you, Rafaela. Daniel, I don't know if you want to add.
Yes, it's a good question. Because most of the PhD students say the same thing. Funding can be a major challenge. So I think if I can give you advice about this, if you don't find the right opportunity here in Portugal, try somewhere in Europe, for example, because there are so many European and international programs that can support your project, maybe. So I will say again, not to give it up after the first no, because maybe the first no, it's open the door for you, maybe the future. So I believe in that. Find other resource for your project, to your research, your idea, because maybe it's not only here in Portugal.
Well, Rita and Tiago explained thoroughly, as well as Rafaela. What I can add is that as a PhD student, you shouldn't be disappointed. As a PhD student, you're going to face so many challenges. I'm just giving you one example. Suppose you're going to publish an article. After so many desk research, after, I don't know, writing the article according to the template of the journal, whatever, you submit your article, now it starts. Maybe your article is going to be rejected so many times, I don't know, 7 times, 8 times. So every time your article is going to be revised again, the reviewers ask you to revise your article, you see that, oh, my article isn't worth it. You know, you all know. So you should, I mean, be motivated always. You should, I mean, you shouldn't be disappointed about that. Am I right?
Thank you, Daniel.
You shouldn't, but you definitely become frustrated.
Yeah, exactly. It's normal. It's normal.
It's normal. Yeah.
But you shouldn't give up, at least.
Yeah, that's part of the process.
Thank you so much. As we approach the end of our session, I would like to ask each of you for one final piece of advice about what are the main messages in the program. What are the best strategies for creating impact both during and after the degree? I will ask you to be very quick, about 2 minutes each, okay, for having time for questions.
I can jump in because I have my answer pretty much prepared about this. And my advice is mentorship, and it ties back again to what I was saying. career guidance opportunities at different stages. Different people or different services or organizations will be the best mentors for ourselves or for you guys at different stages. So there is this idea of contextual mentoring. This means that your advisor, of course, and supervisor or co-supervisors are key, but you have other people that can serve as mentors for you in different aspects of your work, in management, in trying to sell your idea, or marketing, those kinds of things. And different people will serve as mentors differently, or different services of mentorship in case you have the ability to pay for those services. And I myself have done that, so I'm talking in the perspective of the user, both pro bono mentorship, just people in academia that were willing to help me because they liked my profile or my interests or whatever, and then paid services of career guidance or mentorship in the domain of psychology or performance or whatever that can really it's an investment on yourself and in your career, and it can boost your career. And to announce, I also do those kinds of things, and I will provide the link for my services that is in Portuguese for people in Portugal that might be interested in those kinds of service. I will leave the link on the chat.
Thank you, Tiago.
If I may add, I think that you really need to be exposed. So if you never try, you never know. And so it's the same thing with grants and prizes. If you don't apply, you never win. And each part of the application process, or each part of the program that you enroll, the mentorship, that approach people that you think they are interesting. Don't be afraid to talk to them. Ask for advice. Surround yourself with people that can help you, but please do not be afraid of asking for help. And if you think that, for example, I've seen here in the chat some people asking regarding academic background to be competitive in the job market, get out there, apply to those positions, see what they see about your profile, ask them what you could improve to make yourself more appealing. But once again, try it, expose yourself to the process application, understand what can be improved, and think about it, and see if you would like to invest some time on a certain skill. Look for programs. Universities have a lot of resources, as the group was saying. So I think that you really need to do some research also on that, and just expose yourself to whatever you want to try out. It's also about taking risk and dealing with failure. Except that most of the things, as Daniel was saying, will most likely you will fail. So just don't be afraid of it, and do it anyway.
Thank you so much, Rita.
I agree with Tiago, Daniel, Rita. So my piece of advice: validate your research before going to the market, because sometimes you think your idea or solution is unique, but sometimes it isn't. Because maybe someone in another part of the world is working on a similar something similar you work. So check, understand your market, validate your audience, and if possible, join an entrepreneurship program before you create your startup. And I think when you choose or are thinking about doing a PhD, enjoy. Study something you enjoy a lot, because so many times is not practical, is intense in research. So enjoy with your topic, your research.
Well, thank you. I have to say that I'm not in a position to get you some advice, but maybe some tips. For those who have not started doing a PhD, just one tip: try to find a motivation in yourself. Why PhD? In my case, I love to research. You know, I'm a data scientist. I love to work with data. I love to extract information from raw data. I love to work, I love to go through different tools and applications in data science, etc. So try to find a motivation for yourself. For those who have already participated in the PhD program, I have some extra tips for you. The first one is that try to be active as much as you can. Participate in conferences. Try to accept challenges. If you're asked to be a speaker in an event, do not be afraid. Do not say, okay, I cannot handle it. I'm a shy person. I cannot speak in public. No, try to accept challenges. It's very, useful. The second one is familiarity with digital tools. Nowadays, there are so many AI tools. No matter what is your field of the study, try to be expert in some tools. As an example, there are already some tools which will help you complete the literature review of your article. There are some AI tools, as an example, Consensus or the lab section in Google Scholar, etc. Try to be expert in them. It would be very useful. The second tip is to try to present your work at different conferences. Why? Let me speak about my personal experience. A while ago, my supervisor asked me to write a paper to publish in a conference. I was not quite satisfied, but anyway, I wrote that paper. We submitted our paper. Our paper was reviewed by 2 reviewers. They were, the feedbacks that we got was fine. The reviewers were very satisfied with the article. Anyway, at the conference, when I presented my work, a lady came to me and she said, you are Danial. I said, yes. She said, I was one of the reviewers of your article. That's very amazing. The results are very good. Could you help us in one project? It's a European project we are involved with, etc. So I helped that lady. That lady works in a very top level of industry without any money. But I believe that in the future, if I want to do, a postdoc, probably she's going to help me. New opportunities, new doors will be open to you these ways. So do not be shy. And the other one is to try to communicate with experts, not only academic experts, but also industrial experts. Experts who are working outside universities, because they're facing real life problems. They may give you some real advice. They may speak about some real problems so that you can think on those problems, and new ideas come up. Yeah. And the last one is never lose your motivation. I believe that the only one and the only thing that the only one who can give you motivation is yourself. So never lose your motivation. That's it from my side.
Thank you so much to all of you. And thank you for all those valuable insights. Well, to wrap up this part of our section, I believe we can summarize our talk into like 3 main pillars. For example, mindset. Being entrepreneurial is about taking initiative and solving problems in any professional environment. Also connection. Connection in impact happens when we learn how to bridge the gap between our specialized research and the needs of society. And versatility. A PhD provides a high level of a set of skills that allow us to create value far beyond the university. So thank you so much once again. This concludes the recorded portion of our webinar. To everyone watching the replay on UP doctoral careers. Thank you for joining us, and we hope these stories inspire your own path.